Good afternoon, Monarchs. It's a pleasure to share some updates with you again this afternoon. I do have a few updates that I'm going to provide, but also feel free to type in questions in the chat, and right after the updates, I'll answer as many questions as we have time for. So today is a exciting day here at Valley College. We have students back on campus for the first time in 4 months. We only have a few classes back on campus, but it is nice to have
It's a pleasure to share
a few classes back. The classes that were started up again today are the ones in the spring semester that we're not able to complete. There were only 6 or 7 classes that we're not able to complete from the spring 2020 semester. But we also plan on bringing a handful of classes back for the fall semester as well. So this week we're going to be sending out additional communications that we will have some classes returning to campus for the fall semester. Those will be limited to classes that cannot be completed online and include areas such as nursing, respiratory therapy, CNC and manufacturing, and EMT. So there'll be a few classes in the fall, but nearly all classes that were planned for the fall semester will continue to be online. Similarly, all student services will remain online as well. There will not be any in-person student services, but you will be able to continue to access all student services through live chat and email. We're also going to be creating a new help desk for LA Valley College. So students will be able to call better and get connected with the office that they need to talk with. I have a couple more updates about Chromebooks. We do have Chromebooks on order for students in the fall. All promised students that are incoming in the fall semester will receive a Chromebook. We have over 500 Chromebooks on order for our promised students at Valley College. In addition to Chromebooks for promised students, we've ordered additional Chromebooks for students that will be available through an application process. Over the next 2 weeks, we'll be releasing information about the application process for the new Chromebooks, and students will be able to apply for them and receive them before the fall semester starts. 2 more updates. We have some podcasts that Valley College has available through our homepage on lavc.edu. The latest one is a conversation about George Floyd, and I would encourage you all to take a look at it. And lastly, we have some information about basic needs, and that includes scholarships for food insecurity, as well as information from our campus peer navigators for students who might be experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity. You can access that information by going to our homepage, lavc.edu, and clicking on LAVC COVID-19 updates. And there'll be information if you scroll down, both on the food insecurity scholarships, as well as housing insecurity and homelessness. Resources that are available through the Peer Navigator. With that, let me see if there's any questions in the live chat. There's one question about EWs for summer classes. If folks drop from TAVI, the EWs and the prevalence of them was specific to the spring semester, but we'll get some additional information about EWs for other semesters and post them. But the EWs largely were restricted to students who registered in the spring semester. There's a question from Rosin about whether or not one has to be verified that they are taking the class to be allowed on campus. Yes, that is the case. We do have a checkpoint set up on campus, and they have a list of all students who are registered for a class that is scheduled to be on campus. And they also confirm with the students and employees that they're not experiencing any symptoms before coming on to class. But coming on to class is restricted to just students who are currently registered in classes that are in person on campus. There's a question from Taylor. Do we pick up the Chromebook laptops on campus, or will they mail them? We do plan on mailing the Chromebooks to students, so students don't have to come to campus to pick them up. There's a question from Melina about applying for a fee waiver online. And you can go to the financial aid office, and all the information about applying for financial aid, including fee waivers, is available through the financial aid office. Daniel Rosales posted a question: will spring 21 be online or in person? Currently, we're planning for winter and spring to be in the same modality as the fall. So most classes will continue to be online, and we'll probably have just a handful of classes in person that cannot be delivered online. Of course, if the LA County Department of Public Health orders change, then we'll update our plans as the health orders change. But currently, the health orders require us to continue to teach online anything that can be taught online. There's a question from Oscar about being allowed to go. That's also where the check-in is. So if you let the folks know that you need to drop off books, you'll be able to do that. There's a question from Kathy about students applying for in-campus employment and whether or not they can work during the pandemic. We do have some student employment even during the pandemic, but all that employment is happening where students telecommute. So no students are currently working on campus, but you can keep an eye out for employment opportunities. We do have some where students are telecommuting, working from home. There's a question about for Bishop, will we have verification by 2021 that we have earned an AA degree from Valley? Yes, you'll receive your verification and diploma before 2021. Typically, those are the processing of the graduation petitions, and doing the verifications is completed in the fall semester. So you should have confirmation next couple of months. There are several questions about transcripts, and I know that the admissions and records folks are working on transcripts for students, especially given that there's a deadline for students to submit their transcripts by July 31st. I know a lot of universities have extended the deadline given the pandemic, but student services, admissions, and record staff continue to work hard to process all of the transcript requests. I'll also follow up with the Dean over admissions and records, Dean Townhall Hernandez, and make sure that we respond as quickly as possible to the transcript request. There's a question from Tavi about if you applied for a Chromebook and didn't get it, will you get it this time? It's difficult to tell, difficult for us to determine how many applicants that we will receive, though I can say we have ordered 500 Chromebooks for Promise students and an additional 1,850 Chromebooks for other students. In the spring semester, we only had a fraction of that number of Chromebooks. So we've radically increased the number of Chromebooks to try to meet all of the demand for them. So hopefully we'll be able to get them out to every student who has a need. There's a question from Vanessa about trying to contact a counselor regarding international student situation, but haven't yet received a response. The international students are now allowed to take their load completely online. So international students can continue, but also please do follow up with your counselor. A question from Jason about chemistry and biology classes and whether or not they'll be in person for spring 2021. Currently, plans for all chemistry and biology classes are to offer them online, and we don't currently have plans to have chemistry or biology classes on ground. But as the LA County Department of Public Health orders change, then we might update the plans for having chemistry and biology classes in the spring semester, spring 21, on ground. But currently, they will all be online. There's a question about factors and considerations that went into restarting the spring semester today. And notice was only given 5 days ago. Yes, a lot of the factors that went into restarting classes included, of course, the LA County Department of Public Health guidelines. And then we also had to do a lot of work to make sure the campus was set up with appropriate signage and check-in stations, and that we had all the appropriate protocols and procedures for having students and staff return safely. We also looked at how much time the class needed to complete their spring semester instruction. All of the classes from the spring semester need to be completed by August 31st. So the staff work to determine when the classes needed to meet and how much time before they started. There were a couple of classes that needed to start today because they needed the full 5 weeks before completing the semester. And there's a couple of classes that had a few less hours, and they were able to start in a few days. There's a question about, from Razin, which entrances on campus are going to have the checkpoints. There's only currently one entrance to campus that's open. So all traffic is funneled to the Fulton Circle or the Fulton Roundabout. And that's where the check-in location is. Kathy asked a question about getting emergency funds during the pandemic. We are developing plans for additional CARES Act money. When for Valley College, we received $6 million of CARES Act funding. The first $3 million went directly to students. And then for the remainder of the $6 million or $3 million, about half of it is going to go to students and about half of it's covering institutional expenses. The half that's going to students is planned for Chromebook purchases, as well as some emergency aid to students and helping students with other needs related to technologies such as internet access. More details about those plans will be available for the next student town hall in 2 weeks. And I'm not seeing any additional questions. So with that, I want to thank everybody for the resilience, their continued resilience, all of your continued resilience during this pandemic. Please let us know how we can continue to help support you. And I look forward to seeing you all again in 2 weeks and provide some more updates, especially on the details with the CARES Act funding and applications for the Chromebooks. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a terrific week.